Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Apex Racing TV. Alex Simpson, Conrad Venter here for round number 5 of the iRacing Grand Prix Series. We're at Indianapolis and we're experiencing technical difficulties. There's a surprise. We'll try and get that rectified in just a short second. Conrad, just tell us about this circuit. It's iconic for other reasons, not really usually F1 racing, but I think we're going to have a good race today.
Yeah, hopefully with a big DRS zone around the oval bit, it should allow for more overtaking than we've seen in the previous weeks. Of course, like you say, we all know the track for the Indianapolis 500 and the Indy cars, and it should be a good one. You sort of have to find the trade-off between in the downforce with the long oval section that you've got, but it's also a very twisty infield section that they have to negotiate before they can put their foot down and let it rip down the straights.
We'll get the overlay up and running in a second.
I've just started doing about almost halfway through the qualifying session. We've got Anton Hegelen on pole at the moment by about 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, 107.2. I haven't looked at the weather yet, but my best guess is looking. That's quite cold out there, or a little bit colder than sort of like the default weather based on the times there. So, quick look. Now 26 degrees, partly cloudy. It's not that cold at all, actually. So yeah, some impressive times coming out. Ignore the lap record down there.
Track temperature is just slightly lower than it was last week around the Circuit of Americas, but they shouldn't really be faced with anything out there today that they haven't driven in before in this car.
Yeah, Felosa in second, Fluke, and then Shorthurst, Bartolat, and Barrow. So a lot of returning faces that we've seen sort of week in, week out. A few still to set a time as well. Marty Patella down there, Patrick Holzman just puts it on pole position as well.
Yeah, Hegelen has done both of his qualifying laps, so Holzman going about 4/10 faster. I mean, he's been on form over the last couple of weeks. I mean, he had a little bit of trouble around Montreal, as I recall. I think he disconnected from that particular race. Obviously was pretty well placed as well. And last week around the Circuit of Americas, he just absolutely dominated the field.
He did a race yesterday, I think, where it's a very similar kind of result as well. A lot of World Championship drivers in that one as well. They're all having a little squabble, and he managed to get out in front and just pull away. So yeah, he'll be looking to do exactly the same thing again. Interesting track. I know for a fact there's different aero packages being used out there as well. So we have to keep an eye out for those that on that medium downforce, trying to extract the straight line speed out of the car, and those that are going to be quicker in the infield section. It was tricky on the old car as well, and actually I remember times when we would run a little bit more wicker here than what you would expect based on the huge long straight, just to gain the time in the infield section, and you could actually surprise people being that quick and coming out the corner, and then with the draft, even though you're carrying a bit more downforce, you can still get by down the straights. But from what I've seen, the medium downforce, when it's trimmed up nicely, it's very, very difficult to overtake, and we've seen that in previous races as well.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to that rear wing opening up once they start coming down the oval section. Where exactly does the DRS zone start for? It's
actually start-finish line, so you get a good old run and draft and whatnot that you need up to them, and then just as you're getting into picking up some speed, you can just deploy the DRS and just carry on as well. So it's not massive, but I think it's quite effective, having looked at some of the other races that have gone on. Nick just comes across to finish his second lap. No, that wasn't that. He's just starting his lap as well. Is he going to run out of time? Doing a bit of racecraft testing or something like that, because I can't see that he's.
Yeah, there's only about 40 seconds left, so I don't think he's got enough time to finish this particular lap. He's going to be just short
as well.
seeing a couple of guys starting at the end of the pit lane, practice starts. David Baker just practicing pit entry.
Well, I think we're just about done. I don't think Nick's going to get a time in. It's just not enough left. Look, ticked off yet?
I think we can start running through the grid. So Nick is, he's just about to run out of time as he comes onto the oval section.
Yep, there it is. Checkered flags out, so didn't count, unfortunately, for Nick.
So again, like last week, we've got Patrick Holtzman on pole with a 1 minute 6.862. Only driver to drop into the 1 minute sixes, and joining him on the front row is Antoine Hegeling. Third place, Sebastian Dunkel, and with him is Sebastiano Filosa, Steve Honnen and Bart Delart in 5th and 6th, Jamie Fluke, Jonas Nikarinen making up the 4th row, Stijn Stockhorst in 9th place, Carlo Labatti in 10th, Matt Farrow and Marty Piatella on the 6th row, and then we've got our old friend Ficara and Jan Schwitter on the 7th row, Roberto Gutierrez and Nick Thiessen 15th and 16th, Zoran Jonic in 17th, Anton Seberokov in 18th place, Boris Poelstra 19th, Ruben Denke in 20th, and then we've got Pekka Lamy in 21st, Mika Hoppen in 22nd, Ian Ford in 23rd, and David E. Baker in 24th place.
All good then?
I have to say it's a bit strange seeing David Baker in the FW31. We're more used to seeing him playing us straight in the Kias week in and week out.
Yeah, he's done a few, I think, this season, and but of course normally finds himself in the second split. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out. So yeah, interesting front row. Who's going to get into that first corner first? I think I'm pretty convinced that there's a split there with the downforce level, so it could make it an interesting race.
Antoine Hegeling looks like he's a little bit slow off the line. He's already been jumped by Sebastian Dunkel off the line. Patrick Holtzman straight clear going into turn 1. Dunkel just behind him as they negotiate their way through turn 2 with Antoine Hegeling the third.
Big one, lots of cars through the grass escaping there. I don't know who that was. It looks like Marty Piatella was caught up in that, so was Eunice because the spun took Marty out again. So those two, I think that's probably race over for them, although Eunice is trying to carry on. So yeah, 2 WCS drivers out already.
Sort of towards the front half of the, well, let's say the front half of the grid, first sort of 7, 8, 9 or 10 people looked like they got away cleanly. Obviously there's a lot of action going on just behind them.
Yeah, Filosa coming under a bit of pressure from Shorthurst here, higgling about half a second back from Dunkel, and Holtzman's checking out already. So just have a look, see if there's any sort of split here. Like looks like Higling's closing in pretty rapidly on Dunkel here. Is he going to have a look? Shorthurst as well, making a move on Filosa. Antoine has a look down the inside, nothing coming this time, and Shorthurst couldn't quite get past Filosa. Carlo holds on from Steve Honen as well, and I think Jamie Fluke just out wide, having a look around the outside of Honen.
He's pushed out wide.
Yeah, onto the grass. He did exactly the same thing with Olli Pacala in a race last night as well, and he said to himself, he goes, if ever he needed 3 screens, that was the reason why, and again it's caught him. So yeah, down into 11th place for Fluke.
Looks like top couple of guys has pulled a bit of a gap. We've got the top 3 a little bit down the road from Filosa, followed by Schotthorst as well. It's interesting, first lap coming down the main straight. We see there's a significant draft, so they're going to have real fun once the DRS starts kicking in as well.
Yeah, Antoine tucked in, opens DRS already alongside. Great straight line speed, straight through. He's clear even before the braking zone. So We've,
Oh, he just ran a little bit deep into turn 2.
This is really where Dunkel's going to need to fight back, I think, and just looking at the straight line speed difference between there, it's pretty obvious to see who's on what downforce configuration there. Zoran just having a quick look as well on Matt Farrow. Matt down in 9th place. We haven't seen Matt down in 9th place much this season, so expect to see him try and work his way through. He's got Bart Delat and Steve Honan in front of him. Both drivers very, very quick as well.
So having a look, Marty Pietella is still sitting in the pits. He looks like he's out of the car, so I doubt he'll be coming back.
Yeah, retirees look like they could be. Well, they could be Boris, Marty, Jan, and Mika are all out. So yeah, not great for them. There was a lot of cars that went off track on that first corner.
Oh, did we miss Dunkel making a mistake somewhere in the infield? Well, Antoine Hegel managed to put a sizable gap before they got back on the oval.
No,
and, Dunkel didn't even have a look in as they were coming down the straight.
Though 109.6 really, and there was no reason for it to be slow because they weren't sort of fighting in turn 1, were they? So yeah, that's surprise. See if I can just get a quick replay back of the start. Oh, this is going to work. Oh, we've got who is that? That's Nick Thiessen there around into the wall coming out of the final turn. That's not what Nick wanted at all. That might have actually been some weird glitch bug there because Nick's still going around there. I don't know what that was. That's weird.
Yeah, I'm just trying to have a look.
Yeah, very strange. Something going on with the replay there. Just literally jumped us right back to the start. So yeah, weird. There we go. That'll surprise him when he watches it back. He's fine.
He'll blame me. He'll blame any handling issues on that. So yeah, that happened.
Yeah, very strange there. I think that was in practice. So yeah, God knows what happened there.
Like you say, you've been watching a couple of the races that they've done so far this week. Tire wear, tire pressures, anything to be worried about today?
I think the tyre wear does look pretty heavy, I have to say. So I think there will be some issues towards the end of the race. But looking at the track temperature, I think they'll be okay. I think it's only when you get sort of above the default weather sort of track temperature do you really have to worry. And right now they're a few degrees below that, so I think they're going to be okay. As long as they don't have any major slides or scrub that tyre at the front, they're going to be fine. Steve Honan and Farrow having a little battle, and Farrow gets himself past Honan there. Jamie Fluke next up behind him. And it looks like Filosa's having a good battle with Shorthurst as well here. Carlo around. Let's have a quick look, see what happened to Carlo.
Quite a few places. He's back in the pits.
Quick look, see what that was all about.
Front end on that car doesn't look too great either. He just lost it.
Yeah, he just lit it up coming into the DRS zone. He hadn't deployed the DRS zone, so yeah, just a case of too much right foot by the looks of it.
In this case, unfortunately, there was a barrier there to stop him.
Yeah, front two, it's very similar lap times last time by, just a couple of hundredths between them. And yeah, Shorthurst actually got past for most of the previous lap, wasn't he? He started to pull back away now as well. So Fluke also passed Honan. I think Jamie got some damage on the front end of his McLaren there as well. Yeah, it's quite considerable as well, all crumpled in. So doesn't seem to be affecting the car too much, but maybe hurting his straight line speed.
Yeah, it's just the top 10 sort of, more like up to about 8th place have just broken off with forming little pockets, and there's not a lot of racing going on there.
Yeah, just having a little look, 7/10 of a second is gap between Ian Ford and Nick Thiessen as well. Ford going to deploy that DRS, so does Nick, so there's not going to be anything gained there. Ian sticking with the series as well. The very accomplished driver in the V8 supercar as well, so your Riley Preston Pro Series driver wants to see him get up and get in there and help him in the Pro Series next season.
I always find it interesting to see the well-known names from other series make their way into the Formula One car, and see how they get on. Jamie most certainly hasn't disgraced himself. He's a very quick driver, and it's a name that keeps cropping up from week to week.
Quick look at our race leader at the moment. In fact, let's go for a lap on board. Pulled out to 3.1 seconds at the moment from Antoine. Car looks very under control. Not flat through the kink. Very tricky like the old car. It was no problem. Absolutely put to the floor through there. But much more drivable now, the new McLaren. Doesn't look like he's got any worries in the world in there as well. Very smooth on the steering. Car looks good over the bumps as well. Yeah, it's fair to say that Vivano Thrustmaster X-Team car there looking very good, and Patrick very comfortable behind the wheel.
Yeah, you look at people like that, and you sometimes think, oh, they make it look so easy. No, I'd love to drive this car, and then somebody rubbish like myself gets into the thing, and yeah, it looks like a pig is driving it.
It looks like Fluke closing in on Farrow as well. Wants to try and gain some of those places he lost. I can only imagine Fluke got caught up in that turn 1 melee as well, because I haven't really seen him sort of make contact with anyone, so that must have been where he picked up that damage. So a driver on the move is Yua Pakalami, closing in on the back of Thiessen. Sure, all the drivers, all the fans on Twitch will be loving watching a little bit of Pakalami and Thiessen battle. Two very well-known names in the iRacing community.
I'm just going to keep an eye on Sten Schotthorst here for a second. He's been closing up on Sebastian Dunkel for the last lap or two. He gained another 10th and a half on that last lap. Yeah, he's just about within 1 second range now, so we'll see how they compare coming down the straight on this current lap.
Yeah, just half a second that he separated them, and it looked like Dunkel just was a little bit wide coming out of the right-hander there onto the straight, so Shorthurst closing in just a little bit more again. Quicker the last lap. tenths of a second as they come out onto the main straight. Is in draft range. See him already closing in 4 tenths, 3 tenths. Speed difference. He hasn't even deployed the DRS yet. Now it opens.
He's flying,
now it
isn't
opens up. Interesting. He slows down as he pulls out of the slipstream, even with the DRS open. So, yeah, that's crazy, really. Goes to show how much of a hole gets punched with these McLarens, and when deploying the DRS, just can't maintain the speed. But unlike in the old car, when you used to pull out from there and physically slow down and can almost barely get by, you sort of even out with the speeds. At least the DRS keeps you on track and you can complete the overtake.
It just gives you that little extra little oomph that you need just to get your nose in front.
Looks like Farrow's changed his livery colours as well now. So he was in the Renault last week, and now Boris is in there too. Unfortunately, he's retired. No way past this time for Farrow. Eunice as well, working his way back through the field, even with the damaged front wing. He's having a little look now on Antoine. Turn 1. Oh, that's very shaky on the brakes there, but manages to get the move complete.
Yeah, we're all very familiar with Eunice, and there's somebody to keep an eye on for the rest of the race. Yeah, there's 50 laps that they've got to do. They've got another 37 odd laps to go, so he'll more than likely reel in quite a few people through the course of the race.
Yeah, the quickest driver out there at the moment is Stein Shawhurst. Absolutely flying. 10th of a second quicker than Patrick that last lap. Stein also joined that gap team, so they're expanding rather quickly, aren't they?
Somebody in that team's got a very big checkbook. Sign them up.
Yeah, just having a look at the times. 1 minute 8.8 that time. Just a little bit slow.
Look down the inside of Eunice Nikarin, and I thought he was going to stick his nose in there, but Eunice shut the door firmly, and he kept hold of that 15th place. Our next car on the horizon for Eunice is going to be Ian Ford. Eunice's car looks very quick through the midfield section. I mean, he visibly closed the gap on Ian Ford as they were coming through there, making much tighter line through the banking of the oval as well.
Probably a slightly higher downforce package then for Eunice, not affecting him in the straight line. Once he gets on the DRS, opens the DRS and uses the slipstream, can still manage to make his way past.
Yeah, he's up to 14th place. He made that pass look extremely easy.
Doran and Nick still fighting it out as well. Half a second between those at the moment. Surely in for a good opportunity as Nick to get a move done this time. 0.3 of a second coming out onto the straight. He'll be right in the zone, probably up alongside him before they even reach the DRS zone. Yeah, easy pickings when it's when you're that close, I think.
It's really nice and refreshing to watch some of these F1 races of late, and actually see some overtaking taking place. I know a lot of people argue it's artificial, and it's maybe not something that belongs in motor racing, but it is what it is, and we can all sit back and enjoy seeing one F1 car going past another one for the change of position for a change.
Conan's got our buddy out there, Ficara. Try not to curse him this week. But yeah, this battle for 9th place right now. Ficara just 0.4 of a second back coming onto the straight. This could be another pass. And DRS coming open. Here he goes. Straight through again. So yeah, these long straights, I mean, you could do that in the old Williams, so I'm not surprised we're seeing it with the DRS as well. So I think the only way to defend really is to be quicker than the person you're trying to pull away from really behind you. So difficult to maintain position. That straight is so wide as well. It's like you can't really defend on it. They're going to find a way past somewhere.
I was going to say we haven't really seen anybody take a defensive line going down that main straight. I think the only person we saw was Danko in the first couple of laps on Higgling, and Higgling just drove straight past him. There's no point really.
Right, Filosa and Dunkel getting very, very close as well. Look like two teammates. So Dunkel just slipping back a little bit. Not been lapping too impressive of late, and the 109.8 from the last lap. Really not going to help him out at all as well. But the lap's closing in on them as well. And although sort of maintaining the gap behind them is Jamie Fluke as well. But if these 3 or 4 start to battle, I think they'll be right up on them in no time.
Yeah, Delart has been in his all reliable self. I think he had a couple of issues with the start with that melee that you were talking about, but yeah, he's been making his way back up through the field. He's currently sitting in 6th place, and like you say, if Filosa and Danko, even if they just decide on a positional switch, that's going to lose them time, and Delart's going to be right with them.
On board with Filosa, not able to close in enough to have a move on his teammate at the moment. Shorthurst as well is closing in on Higlin. Gonna have to keep an eye on that battle. Not quite in the DRS zone yet, but won't be far out. Definitely see Shorthurst much quicker through the infield section as well. So again, there's a pretty obvious change in sort of area packages out there. So one of the real tracks you can really go either way. You know, from my own personal testing, times were very, very close. There was an advantage to one, and but yeah, the sort of pick and choose, and definitely when you're in the race, depending on what you need. If you need to overtake, or you need to try and be as quick through the infield so no one can get a run on you going onto that straight. 0.8 of a second, DRS range is there. That will be deployed. Well, we didn't see it that time, so Antoine lapping in the 109s, very low, and Shorthurst matching, well, actually slightly quicker than Patrick again. So yeah, he's very, very quick out there.
Patrick Oldsman just sort of reminds me of what we've seen from race strategies from him over the last couple of weeks. He just reminds me sort of a Sebastian Vettel of a couple of years ago. He just blitzed the field in a couple of opening laps, get a nice gap, and then just sit there, pace himself, and work on it for the rest of the race.
But the lat on Dunkel, Filosa's through. We missed the overtake with Filosa. Apologies for that. But he might be able to get his way straight back past because he's right in range. But he's going to need to step on it because I think Bart's going to have an opportunity as well. Yeah, Bart straight through. Very slow straight line speed for Dunkel. It's almost like he hasn't even got a DRS deployed behind his teammate there. Absolute sitting duck. Don't know if there's a problem for Dunkel. You said that obviously, well, we noticed he was slipping back, so I wonder if he's picked up some damage somewhere that we don't know about.
There's nothing visible on the car, but I mean, even with the DRS, well, didn't really have the DRS before the start-finish line, but I mean, with the drop from his teammate, that last lap of his was only a 1:10.
Yeah, definitely got some problems out there. Pulling the DRS there, so yeah, not really sure what's going out there for Dunkel, but really struggling. Oh, Pelosa into the wall and stuck as well. What happened there?
Oh, that's certainly a race over.
I think it's exactly the same place as his teammate. No, it's not.
Oh, he just went straight on. Did he get a wheel on the grass on the braking? No.
I mean, we heard him trying to rev out of the fence, so I don't know what happened there. Is that a wheel? Do you think he got a lock up or something like that on the grass? Didn't look like it. That's very weird.
The only thing I can see is as he was coming up to taking the turn in, he was on the curb, and there's just the front right tire just touching the grass on the braking. And it looks like it just catapulted him straight up. Oh, there we go. He just posted in the chat. He had a screen freeze.
Ah, gutted. Worst possible place.
Yeah, right in the braking zone just before you're about to turn in. Not great.
Quite halfway through the race then, so Patrick Holden leads now by 7 seconds. 4/10 back from Antoine is Stein Shorthurst, Bart Delat, Sebastian Dunkel, Jamie Fluke up to 6th place. Matt Farrow 7th, Ficara in 8th, Steve Honan in 9th, Nick Thiessen in 10th, and it looks like Shorthurst straight by Antoine. No issues there whatsoever.
Yeah, we were talking about Sebastian Dunkel and if he might have picked up damage from somewhere. Well, it looks like he most certainly did. We just didn't pick it up. If you look at the left side pod on the car, the TRL logo looks a bit scratched up and dented. He definitely made contact somewhere with something. It doesn't normally look like something that would cost you this amount of time, but he's obviously struggling out there.
Now in this battle, Antoine's managed to maintain the gap behind Shorthurst, so would surely have an opportunity at getting straight back past as well as we enter the final corner of the lap. 4/10 of a second back. Shorthurst is going to be deploying all these possible toys he can. Actually seems to be pulling away down the straight, so yeah, Antoine really struggling out there. I don't know if it's no ERS power or something like that, but yeah, not even closing up down the straights.
On inside the car.
Much the closest battle on track. We'll stay with it for the moment, although I think Stein is just going to pull away.
Ooh, Hagelin getting a little tail wiggle coming out of that slow corner. Yeah, that might just cost him that DRS activation, but
yeah, absolutely 1.1 seconds back, so Shorthurst clear and out of the DRS zone. Again, closes in on Patrick that lap, so be interesting to see. We're halfway through. He's going to have to go some if he's going to catch Patrick, but yeah, it's definitely possible.
Just to respond if Scott Horse gets too close for his liking. But I mean, again, we've seen so many times during the last couple of weeks that there's a couple of drivers. I think most notably we've mentioned Bartelat in the past that they don't always qualify that well, but when it comes to race pace, they're always one of the quicker people out there. And race pace should start making some inroads up to where they would normally finish in the upper half of the field.
Little battle starting to form up a bit further back actually, and we'll give these guys some coverage as well. Ian Ford made some sort of mistake and is down in 18th place, closing back in on David Baker, who's on screen right now, and then you've got Robert Gutierrez just ahead of them, and then Ruben Denker as well. So out there, got some issues, but still circulating.
Yeah, he's made his way back out, but he's 2 laps down, so for him now it's just, like you say, circulating.
Making the move. Sorry to cut you off there, Conrad, but yeah, nice clean move into turn 1. So he moves himself up to 15th. I'm sure this battle will continue to go on.
Yeah, Denker and Gutierrez has been going for quite a while. I think you were watching the battle between Higgling and Scothorst at one point, and they were at it as well. So they've been going for quite a few laps. They were side by side through that turns 2, 3, 4, and 5 for a few laps.
Baker looks like he's closing in on Ruben as well. See what the lap times are when they come across the line. 1:10.5 for Ruben, and then a 1:98 for Baker as well. And Ford a little bit late to be having a little look, but just trying to make sure that Baker knows that he's there. But yeah, there's still battles all sort of quickly closing in on each other.
It always makes me happy when I know one of the slower cars in her race, and I see the guys up ahead start battling each other, because that's just about the only way I'm going to get a chance to catch up with a quicker driver.
Stick with this little battle because there's not much going on elsewhere at the moment. Everybody just separated are out. Although that said, all of a sudden Antoine's just stepped it up a bit and finds himself closing in on Stein again, as Ford has a little look to the inside of turn 1. Does get that move complete. Baker.
Yeah, Ford did brilliantly well to slow that car down and actually make the corner.
Right, let's jump back up to this battle for P2 as well, because it is hotting up, and yeah, Antoine really has just stepped up all of a sudden. Knocked off 0.3 of a second lap time in the last few laps. Get a puff of smoke there as he locks up, I think, for the right-hander.
Is that a particularly tricky corner? I've seen multiple cars go through there. You just see a little puff of smoke get up into the air.
I don't think so. I mean, it's just a short little stab on the brake. I think that's the thing. And with the new popcorn effects that we get, I think we see that probably. Are we gaining or are we losing? No, we're still losing times. It's just nothing for the straight line speed for Antoine. The end of the straight, he's quicker, but looks like Shorthurst might be deploying a whole load of ERS there to get the straight line speed out of it. So,
oh, we're only up to lap 30 or 50. If he's possibly deploying that much ERS just to stay in front of Higgling at the moment, surely that's going to be something that might come back and bite him in the butt later on in the race.
We're still maintaining reasonable pace. It's just all about managing the modes and the settings, and yeah, I think every driver has their preferences out there as well. A lot of drivers will let it run on adaptive and let it take control of it, so your lap times are almost governed by the onboard computer sailing how much power you can get as Patrick puts a new fastest lap of the racing as well.
Yeah, it's not much there between Hegling and Scott Horston on that last lap. All of about 400ths of a second.
Yeah, both drivers putting in a pretty impressive lap time, but they were actually closed down by 1/10 of a second by Bart Delat as well, so, you know, Bart's coming. Jamie Fluke also closing in on Sebastian Donko. I think it's only going to be a matter of time before Fluke gets up to him, so both drivers out there suffering with a bit of damage, so that'll be an interesting battle to watch when it happens. Yunus Nukarun as well is closing in on the back of Yua Pakalami. For Motorsports and Radicals Online there.
Yeah, they both have done really well since we last had a look at them. They're up to 11th and 12th place respectively.
Yeah, Yunus still got all that front wing damage as well, so doing well to survive the race and make his way up as well. Definitely seems like the front wing damage doesn't make quite the same effect as it used to in the old car. Really, you got damage on the front wing, you're looking at 1 or 2 seconds a lap slower.
Oh, that is until the next new build.
Well, yes, true. Bobby Yunus really gaining down the straight, I have to say. So there is a little bit of an issue with his straight line speed. Kalami probably deploying a whole bunch of ERS just to maintain his gap. The gaps seem to have equalised out. This one and the one between for P2 for Shawhus and Hicklin is where it's at the moment.
So I'm just looking at my timing screen. It's doing all sorts of weird stuff at the moment. Patrick Olsman just seems very comfortable out in the front. He just sort of keeps the lap times nice and stable, and then every now and again just apply a little bit more gas through 1 or 2 corners and open up the gap a little bit. Oh, you were talking about Sebastian Dunkel and Jamie Fluke not so long ago, Alex, and that gap is now down to well under a second. Looks like it's about 7 or 8 tenths at the moment.
Yeah, I think probably this lap he'll get his first taste of the DRS, use that to close in, and then the battle will be absolutely on. Tenths of a second as they come across the start-finish line. Yeah, considerable speed difference. Dunkel does look very slow, so I guess whatever he had picked up a little bit of damage. So some 20 kilometers an hour difference between them at the end of the straights there. So Jamie gets a run, and it's going to be pretty easy pickings.
Yeah, apart from these two, there's not many other battles going on. The only other ones I can see, Yunus is... Well, I thought he got past Pekalami, but it looks like Pekalami just got that place back. They're obviously in a little bit of a battle at the moment.
Yeah, and Thiessen also on Honan closing in as well, 8 tenths of a second between those two. So there's quite a few little battles all slowly starting to come back towards each other right now. Ford on Denker as well, that's 2 tenths of a second. I have to think Ford surely this time able to get a move So we have got a second DRS zone just coming out of this right-hander. He's very close, but I'm still not sure he's close enough to get a move done. No.
Yeah, I can see a pattern here. I'm pretty sure last week we were sitting at the same point in the racing. It's not much going on at the moment, and it looks like there might be a few battles forming up. And in the last 5 laps, it just absolutely exploded.
Yeah, Ford up alongside. DRS deployed. Have to outbrake. Ruben into turn 1. Does that again. Pretty standard stuff for him. He's pulled that move off a few times in this race, so yeah, hits that braking point again, and yeah, like he brakes quite considerably later than everybody else there when he's overtaken them. So, but yeah, good move, and back up to 16th place. So still recovering from where he was, but yeah, doing a good job. And have a look at this one as well. Steve Honan and Nick Thiessen. 0.3 of a second as they come towards the start-finish line. I don't think he's going to get enough to deploy the DRS. He's going to get alongside. Going to be close. No, he backs out of it. You can physically see. Dropped off the gas pedal. Didn't want to risk anything this time. He was very close coming into coming out that final corner. So I'm really shocked that he didn't get a move there. And also Fluke now 0.4 of a second. Make that 0.3 of a second behind Dunkel.
And Matt Farrow just behind them as is slightly quicker as well, so he's closing in on Fluke and Dunkel as well. Oh, Fluke looks like he's got a brilliant run off that banking. He's going to be next to him and gone.
Yeah, Dunkel didn't even defend, did he, up the inside? Just knew there was no point. He was straight through, so. Jamie up and into 5th place. I can't remember where he was when he made that mistake really early on in the race. I think it was about 5th, wasn't it? 5th or 6th, so finally recovered his positions.
Yeah, he qualified in 7th place. I think we saw him down into about 10th, 9th or 10th after he made that mistake running onto the grass. But yeah, really good drive from there on in. We've started making his way back up and sitting at 6th place. Matt Farrow closed up onto Dunkel by another half a second on that last lap as well. So they make their way around, coming out of the second to last corner, back onto the oval.
Dunkel be able to get straight past. You can just see him losing time on the timing screen.
Yeah, he's really slow. He's doing just about hitting 320 kilometers an hour going down that straight.
That's with the DRS open, so yeah, he's got major problems there. Decent on Honan again. Doesn't have the straight line speed. Definitely looks very confident through the corners. Yeah, I think actually he needs to try and have a little look maybe in this second DRS zone, because he's all over him right now. Get a good exit here on the power early. Deploy your ERS, give it everything you've got, and pick it up the inside, Nick. Having a look. Just thinks better of that.
He had a little show there just to possibly distract Honan in front of him. Oh, he's got a massive run. He's going to be past him before they even get out of the banking.
Behind him, but yeah, when they cross the start-finish line, he runs a little bit deep.
He runs deep. I managed to keep hold of that position. That 9th place is just corrects that little mistake in turn 1, but yeah, that's a bit of a double bonus. Making the pass well before they even got onto the flat bit of the start-finish straight, and then he gets the DRS as well, just for good measure.
Patrick, not such a great that last one, a 109.6, probably slowest of the race. We've got 10 laps left to go. I'm guessing that was probably just traffic. Yeah, it was indeed just traffic. So, but yeah, that keeps everybody on their toes. Shorthurst is yeah, what, 0.6 of a second quicker that time by. He's 2.4 seconds clear of Antoine now. So that little fight Antoine put up has fallen away. Nothing he can do. And actually, he's got Bart Delat closing in on him as well. So 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, I was just about to say Higgling might have started licking his rearview mirrors a little bit, because Delat has been there closing the gap down pretty much over the last 10 odd laps. Jamie Flute. Yeah, we saw him making the pass from Dunkley up to 5th.
Yeah, Jamie lapping same sort of lap time as everybody around him as well. So I think anything's going to happen there. Closest battle is still between Pakalami and Karun. You're just doing a stellar job considering the state of that front end of that car, I have to say. Expecting with straight line speed. Once again, he's going to try, but I'm not sure he's going to have anything. Physically see the gap increasing going down the straight, so
yeah. If you look at his car, even the rear wing is slightly bent as well. So I don't think it's just the front end on that car that's got problems.
He made some moves earlier on and made him look easy as well, like he was going by him. So yeah, not really sure. It maybe picked up some more damage that we didn't see or something like that, because yeah, all of a sudden just got nothing.
Oh, we've got Delat has made it past Higgling.
Yeah, Higgling, big accident, I think. Let's take a quick look back, see what that was about. Just saw him up in the wall. Coming on out of the final corner. Everything looks all right there. Oh, he just loses it. Sideways, and Delat hits him as well. That's probably suspension damage. It is, yeah. Will that affect Bart though? Because hit him quite hard. Some wing damage. Got away with it as far as suspension damage goes, but yeah, Higgling out of the race.
Yeah, my entire replay just cut out of the exact bit where you see the back end star going.
That is the problem with the medium and the lower downforces. The car is sketchy through there, and when the tyres start to go, something you have to be aware of.
It's not something that we've seen through the entire race. So it's a great pity for Higgling that he's the one that brings people's attention to this possible problem.
A few retirements out there as well. So obviously Filosa's still going after his problems, but yeah, now Higgling, Carlo Abatti, Boris, Marty, Mika, Jan, all out. So attrition pretty high today.
Yeah, most of them. I think Spoelstra, Happinen, Schwitter, and Piatella were all victims of that first lap incident.
Got some straight line speed this time. He's deploying all of his battery, everything he needs just to try and get by, but he's up and past. Pakalami now. Took him about 7 or 8 laps to do, but worked his way up and into the top 10.
Yeah, next car on the horizon for him will be Steve Honan, but I think that's a considerable gap that he's going to
seconds,
make. Yeah, it's
yeah.
about 7 seconds.
Have to go some,
Yeah.
I think, if he's going to get that one.
I don't think that's going to happen. However, just Steve Honan, Nick Thiessen, Ficarra, they're all in close proximity to each other. So as we enter the last 6 or 7 laps of this race, that might be a little something to keep our eye on. Steve Honan's actually a little bit back from that. Nick Thiessen and Ficarra is separated by very little. About 7 or 8 tenths at the moment.
Still got the battle going on between Anton and Zoran. Well, further back. Keep an eye on that one too. If that anything changes and looks like there might be a move. Actually, it does look very close right now as we switch to them. Zoran having a little look down into turn 1, but just a little bit too far back. Just needed an extra 100 meters or so there, and he would have been able to stick his nose in, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think this is a battle that's going to get broken up in a lap or so. You've got Patrick Holzman is about 1.5 seconds behind them.
See him in the background there.
Yeah, the moment he cruises up to the back of them, blue flag is going to be flying everywhere.
Yeah, Patrick's lead now up to 10 seconds. Ever since Stein's not been under the pressure from Anton, he's just knocked the pace down a little bit. He's been closed in by his teammate as well. This looks like he's settling for second place. Still very impressive, nonetheless. A lot closer this week compared to previous that we've seen from with Patrick. Absolutely stuffing the field in some of the other races, and yeah, 10 seconds not too bad, and considering Shorthouse had to come through the pack as well to do that. You have to think could have been relatively close at the end of the race if he'd have had a good qualifier.
Yeah, sometimes it's a case of could have, would have, should have. Or all 3 of those guys, Stein, Bartelard, Jamie Fluke, have all done a stellar job of driving through the field today, and you know, after some maybe not so good qualifying positions, but also early race trouble. Yeah, Nick Thiessen is trying his best to catch the draft of Ficarra. Ficarra weaving a little bit as they're coming down the main straight.
Zoran was in a great chance to perhaps put a move on this time as well, but he has backed it off so that Patrick can get by, just moves over. Patrick maintained the racing line. Got through yet. To have a bit more of a lift than he would have wanted, so 1.6 seconds, so nearly a second he lost there, because he was just 0.6 of a second back from Anton there before having to lift up, and now he's got Gutierrez closing in on him. So have a look at this Beeston and Ficarra battle. Closest one now, that one's just been split up. Oh, Beeston just on the grass there, coming out of the final turn.
He's getting. It looks like he's getting
Got a good
fairly
run.
good runs as they come out of that corner. He's a little bit closer than he was on the lap before. It just doesn't look like the DRS is making any sort of a difference.
Yeah, so gets a really good run coming out of the corner, but like you say, when he needs that extra, 10 kilometers an hour or something like that, he's just not getting it. He's only getting 320, I think it was 326 or so on the timing screen. Bring it up next time.
I think we saw something similar with the Spas on Steve Honan as well, where he got a really good run, and then the one lap, I think my theory would be is he's running maybe a little bit more downforce, and the moment when he comes out the last corner, thinks he's close enough to make the pass down turn 1, then he just injects a little bit more of that battery power to make the pass. But I mean, his car looks incredibly quick through the midsection of the track.
Definitely running the higher downforce. Just needs to save up his ERS, I think, so that he can deploy it all, you know, and give it absolutely everything he's got.
Yeah, here we go.
330.
That finger is most definitely on the button.
Already alongside this time. 10 kilometre an hour difference. He's clearly through. So yeah, last time it looked like it was. Ficarra has another little look back up the inside though. Not over and done with yet. Will he fight back through turns 3, 4? Little wiggle for Nick as well. Manages to collect the car up and yeah, maintains the position up into 7th place with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, it was very much the same kind of move that he pulled on Honan not so long ago. Yeah, making sure he's close enough, buying his time, and then when the time is right, mash that button like you're playing Mario Brothers, and get the pass done. You can see the gap that he's pulled just in that midfield section alone.
Yeah, it's difficult to make a move when you're on the higher downforce, but not impossible. You really do have to sort of save up your ERS, don't you, so you can have a full whack down that straight. I mean, that's nearly 50% use, I think, from my my limited testing that I've done here. So, you know, it takes quite a bit out of it, and you've got to sort of got to prepare that kind of move if you're going to use that kind of power. Bartolat not able to close in on his teammate anymore. Those guys are doing just about the same. Well, in fact, the top 3 all lapping within a few hundredths of a second out there now. There's nothing really between them, just sort of maintaining the gaps that they've got.
Yeah, we've got 2 laps left, and we've got Farrow, who is, I'm most certain, is going to have a look at the Dunkel before the end of this race. Closed about half a second on that last lap. We'll see what he's done when they cross the line this time round to start the last lap. Oh, he's getting a brilliant run. The DRS is going to be enough. He is going to make it, force it down the inside. Yeah, he's got it done. Yeah, Dunkel tried to go defensive there, but yeah, there was still a gap of cars width down the inside, and Farrow decided to take that, sort of forced the issue there on Dunkel, saying I'm coming down the inside no matter what you do.
Here comes Patrick though, final lap. Confident race again, no real mistakes. A little bit closer from the competition this week, but really nothing that you have to worry about out there. Great job from him, takes the win. Shorthurst going to come across in 2nd place. Great race from him. Worked his way up through the pack, and his teammate just behind him as well. They'll be delighted with that. Oh, there's a big crash further behind. I think that was Ian Ford into the wall in a big way.
Oh, he's still on the racing line as well.
That would have surely been instant death in real life. He's trying to get it to the start-finish line. There goes Jamie Fluke by as well. Oh dear, everybody just out the way. They're like, no, please, not on the final lap. Don't take me out. But yeah, he got it across the start-finish line. But wow, major one.
Could have done with a bit of weight jacket there. It's just that looks like the left rear let go on the banking, and that was that.
Well, they like to do the spectacular, the old Evolution Racing Australia team. We had Riley Preston doing the breakdance in the Pro Series, coming out of Ascari yesterday. He's Williams FW31, and yeah, Ian just well, I'm not sure what he was trying to do there.
Version of the Harlem
Shake.
Shake.
Grabbed the attention on the last lap anyway.
You got to think when he's sitting on the racing line on the last corner, and there's a whole field of cars bearing down on him. When they're doing nearly 200 miles an hour, it's not scary at all.
Right then, final results. Patrick Holzman takes the win by 12.5 seconds from Stein Shorthurst. Bartolat, Jamie Fluke 3rd and 4th place, Matt Farrow in 5th, Sebastian Dunkel in 6th, Nick Thiessen followed by Massimiliano Ficarra, Steve Honan is 9th, and Eunice rounds out your top 10, some minute behind. Yuapak Alami is 11th, Anton Anton Seberakov. Yeah, I'm worse than than anyone at names. In 12th, anyway, Zoran in 13th, Roberto in 14th. David takes your 15th place, and then we've got it was Ian Ford there, and then it's just all the retirees from there on out. So pretty good race, battles throughout, lot of attrition, and yeah, good mix of aero strategies out there makes it kept it exciting all through it, I think. Conrad?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. I was looking forward to it the entire week, just because of that whole oil banking they were doing, when it certainly didn't disappoint up until after Ian Ford stuck it in the wall in the last lap. But it was a really good race, really enjoyable. Looking forward to the next one.
Next week we are at Nürburgring, I believe. So
We are indeed.
should be interesting. Prepare for 5 frames per second on the broadcast, because it's about all we get there with everything turned on. So we might have to knock the graphic settings down a little bit. But yeah, we'll see what we could do. But yeah, going to be interesting. No one really had any experience there as well, so it should be pretty even footing. Of course, those that did drive the car in the opening week will have done some laps around there, so should be interesting to see how it goes. 2 splits today. I wonder if we'll get 3 again next week. But yeah, it was a full grid nonetheless today, so still numbers out there. Yeah, Patrick Holzman, what can you say? Smashed it again.
Yeah, he's. I mean, ever since the troubles he ran into in Montreal, after that he's just looked in a class of his own. It turns up, gets pole, and gets the job done.
Right, well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next week on iRacing Live, and of course on Apex Racing TV. If you missed the show, any part of it, you want to watch it back, and you're on Twitch, just head over to our YouTube channel. It'll be up there straight away. But yeah, for myself and Conrad, it's farewell for another Sunday, and we'll see you for week round 6 even. 2016 Season 1 iRacing Grand Prix Series. Farewell. Enjoy your weekends.